Okay, everyone, this is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 8, and I gotta get this straight here. Episode 9, which was the final 4 episode. And so I want to talk to you about that, and I'd like to hear what you have to think or have to say about it as well, if I can get it out. So this episode focused on the challenge. There really wasn't much leading up to that. But the 4 remaining queens worked with this photographer, videographer, Jason, and they had to work on RuPaul's new music video for The Realness, which I really haven't heard a lot of, if there is much of it. Um, just little pieces of it. So, in those 3 sections of the music video, there was the one where they were laying on their back on the platform, and the other ladies and some other ones were moving these fabric around to make it look like they were floating on air. And some were better than others, let's just say that. Actually, I thought Chi Chi did really well in this one. Naomi did okay. I thought she did good or did well. And Bob, I didn't really think Bob did real well in this. And he looked awful from down below, looking at him sideways. And he himself seemed to be, not very happy with it. So he didn't do very well, I didn't think, in that part. And then Kimchi, ooh, boy, she was very uncomfortable. It was hard for her to keep her legs up. And then she rolled, just, she rolled right off. I'm like, she didn't even try to stop herself. I mean, it was bizarre. And it took like 4 people to get her back up. So that was weird. But poor Kimchi, I felt bad for her in that one. So not Bob and Kimchi's moment, I don't think. Now the dancing part, I thought was good for most of them. I thought Bob did really well. Gave it a lot of attitude and sass in a funny way, and the photographer helped with that by telling him to amp it up. And Chi Chi did very well, I thought, just naturally well. Didn't need much help, it didn't seem. Naomi, I don't know. I was kind of bored with her in this. I mean, she looked good, but I don't know. She focuses so much on her legs and her body, and it's very one note. I don't get the appeal of her. Kimchi, I thought did well. Not as good as Bob and Chi Chi in this one, but did well. And the last part was where they were looking into the mirror and doing those different movements and looks and giving some attitude and such. And Bob did really well in this part, I thought. And Chi Chi did well, but looked great, by the way. I thought Chi Chi looked marvelous there. Naomi, again, I was bored. I mean, just I guess I just don't feel her drag. It doesn't appeal to me. I really like him out of drag. I think he seems like a great kid, as I've said before. But as a drag queen, she just doesn't do it for me at all. And there are times I like things she does, don't get me wrong, but this wasn't one of them. Kimchi, I thought Kim did very well here. She was standing up and looking statuesque, and I just liked it. Now I was looking for. I guess I thought we were going to see the finished product at the end. I thought sometimes they've done that in other seasons where they premiere the video at the end, or maybe it's on the next one when they do sort of the review show, if that's going to happen. But overall, that would mean in the scoring I did for that I thought Bob and Chi Chi did the best, and then Kim Chi, and to me, Naomi was fourth in that respect of the music video. But overall, Chi Chi has been so impressive, and certainly to me the most improved, because I didn't think Chi Chi was going to make it far at all. And even in the first episode, I was not impressed, and I thought he might be in the bottom and probably should have been. But he or she has improved so much, and I thought did so well in this episode and in some of the recent episodes. So very impressed. And I mean, he has really grown on me as a person from the little bit we get to know of them, and she has as well as a drag queen. So, also there was a serious moment with Bob talking about having been made fun of as a child, being chunky, something about, he said the part about his teeth, or people getting made fun of sometimes because of their teeth. And I thought it was kind of interesting. He says, "Well, even if you've got one good tooth, you just love that tooth, and make sure that you have something positive to focus on." So, I really like him too. As there for a while, he was kind of aggravating me or irritating me a little bit, but I mean, overall, I think he's a good guy, and um, he can come across a lot, and sometimes it gets to be a bit too much, and that could also be the editing. So, now as far as the runway, they were supposed to do their best drag. On two of the cases, I didn't see best drag, but that's just me, my opinion, which that's what this is about, by the way. Uh, so I'm sharing my opinion. Bob came out in that jacket and sort of just some tight pants, and I didn't think that was his best drag ever. I mean, at all. And also, his drag last week was better, I thought. So I didn't like it very much. He still looked good, but also I thought his makeup looked really bad. One of the best, or worst makeup jobs I had seen from him. So I gave him an 8.5, and I was kind of maybe an 8.5, somewhere in there. Then Chi Chi came out looking marvelous, looking wonderful. I mean, I guess it's just that's the kind of drag that I like better, that pageant drag. And I know that's sort of old fashioned, but that's okay with me. I like old fashioned drag, I guess so. I like some of the newer drag too, but it just depends. But yeah, Chi Chi to me looked excellent and very polished, and also I have to say reminded me of Kennedy Davenport from last season. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, did he borrow that dress from Kennedy? It's just sort of really reminded me of something she wore, so I'm gonna have to look back and see. And then Kim Chi came out. By the way, I gave Chi Chi a 9.5. Kim Chi came out and looked really good. Um, I gave her a 9.0. The only thing I found very distracting was that face thing she had on, that almost like a W or something on her face. And I wish that hadn't have been there, but other than that, I really liked the outfit and everything. And she was wearing some really long Freddy Krueger kind of nails. That I could have done without. Naomi, I hate to pile on, about how much I do not like Naomi's drag, but I just don't. And this was the perfect example of why. I mean, you could say she looks stylish, okay, if that's a style. It is a style, but it's just not a style I like. But of course, I've said from episode 1 or 2, I don't like when a drag queen does not wear the fake boobs or do something to make it look like she has boobs. But when you come out and you don't even attempt to make it look like there's anything there, what's the point? I mean, it looks ridiculous to me. She just looks like a boy in a wig, a skinny boy in a wig, tall and skinny. And I'm not saying she's not pretty as a woman. She is in some cases, but this to me just looked ridiculous. And a lot of times, if you watch her, especially during Untucked this week, you watch when they were doing the sort of practice runways or showing the other queens what their runway looked like, she jets out her abdomen. Now the bitch is skinny as hell, so she doesn't have like a stomach of any kind, but yet you're that skinny and you're jutting out your abdomen to make it. I mean, she made it look like she has a fat little stomach. I don't get that. To me, that's just bad posture you're showing. Um, and the little things she did where it came up and then it was just pasted on literally, or little something holding those up. I mean, it just, and then the really flat wig, and didn't like the makeup. And again, to me, it's all the same. It's all one note, and I don't think she's progressed at all. There have been a couple times where I did like her look, but not this week. And this again supposed to be your best drag. To me, this was awful. I mean, seriously. So in the end, my bottom two, had we had a bottom two, would have been Naomi and Bob, only because of his look on the runway. Because he did pretty good in the music video, except for that one part on the platform. So really, it was the platform part for him, and the runway that was why I put him in my bottom two. The real bottom two, there wasn't a real bottom two, so we can ignore that. I had to say that for me, the winner was between Kimchi and Chi Chi, since they were the other two. And by just a little bit, I would give it to Kimchi. Um, and, even as I say that, I'm like, or maybe Chi Chi. That's a really hard one. But anyway, um, they had to all lip sync to that song, The Realness. And I guess I need to listen to it some more because I was so focusing on what they were doing and what they looked like, I really wasn't listening to the song that much. So that would give me some more of the lyrics, wouldn't it? But, they all seem to do pretty well. But, and I thought, I watched it again a little bit before this video, and I thought Chi Chi did really well. So, based on the performance in this episode, I don't get why Chi Chi ended up being the one sent home. I truly do not agree with RuPaul's decision. And that's happened many times in other seasons as well. So, not the first time. But guess what? It's his show. He gets to decide. So, I get that. So yeah, Chi Chi Devane went home, which is really unfortunate. I think he should have stayed. He should have been in the top three. And I, of course, would be sending Naomi home because to me, she's the least polished. Like I said, the one who has grown the least. She's improved a little bit from the beginning. Now that I agree with, but no. And I know this isn't all about how much you've grown, but it's about where you finish and where you've been consistently, hopefully. And I just think Chi Chi has been consistently better than Naomi, in my opinion. And so therefore I would have kept Chi Chi and sent Naomi home. But and the other thing is, if that final lip sync is really that unimportant to the decision, why even do it? But of course, then you can't promote your song, so it's a good reason, I guess. So next week, I believe, I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it's going to be a review show, and maybe some past queens commenting, and then supposedly the following week is going to be the finale. But I had heard the finale was May 10th, which is next week, so I'm a little bit confused. Um, May 10th is a Tuesday, so I don't know. So I'm going to have to look that one up online and see. But yeah, RuPaul said 2 weeks, so I tend to think he knows what he's talking about. Um, anyway, I'm looking forward to it. As far as the final three, I'm going to give my thoughts and predictions. So in the final three, of course, we have Bob the Drag Queen, Kimchi, and Naomi Smalls. Obviously, I wouldn't pick Naomi to win, so it's between Bob and Kimchi, and I really think that that's the case. Um, and I like to also think that because last year you had Violet winning, so you had your young upstart. We don't need another one. So between those two, I would give it to Kimchi because I think he's a more well-rounded queen. But I think Bob's gonna win because Bob has a lot to offer, and he's funny and he can do glamour when he wants to, which doesn't seem to be often. And also, he's done really well in this competition. He's won a lot of challenges and, just done consistently well, especially when it involved acting or comedy. So, I think Bob, the drag queen, will win this season of RuPaul's Drag Race. That's my prediction. But I would rather see Kim Chi win. And I think that would be so nice to have an Asian queen win and also a little bit larger queen. Not that Bob is petite, but we don't need another little skinny bitch winning. We've already had one. So I hope to God that Naomi does not win because that will be utter disgrace. At least last year when Violet won, I thought Violet did very well throughout the season, so it made much more sense to me. Anyway, keep watching, and we'll see what happens when the finale does air and the reunion. So take care.